The cabin appeared at the edge of the forest, like a secret that had grown tired of hiding. Its roof sagged under years of snow and neglect, its windows dark and broken, its door hanging open as if it had been waiting for two homeless children with nothing but hunger in their stomachs and winter in their bones. That abandoned cabin was not just shelter. It was a thin line between surviving another night and disappearing without a trace. What neither of them could have imagined was that beneath the rotting floorboards lay something that would change not only their lives, but the lives of everyone who would one day hear their story. Before the story continues, if you believe in kindness, quests, and second chances, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that hope can be buried deep, but it is never truly gone. The children were siblings. 12-year-old Caleb and his younger sister Emma, wandering through a forgotten part of the United States after the system had failed them one too many times. Their parents were gone, lost to addiction and silence, and the foster homes that followed never lasted. Eventually, running became easier than staying. They learned quickly how to stay invisible, how to read the moods of strangers, how to share one coat between two small bodies when the cold became unbearable. Faith was something their mother once whispered about at night. Prayers half remembered, but was enough to keep them believing that God had not completely forgotten them. The cabin became their refuge by accident. A sudden snowstorm forced them off the road and into the woods, where the wind cut through their clothes like knives. When Caleb spotted the cabin, he felt a rush of relief mixed with fear. Abandoned places were never truly empty, but staying outside meant certain danger. They stepped inside, brushing snow from their shoes, breathing in the smell of damp wood and old ash. The place was small but sturdy, built decades earlier by hands that knew how to survive winters that killed the unprepared. The first nights were hard. There was no electricity, no running water, and barely enough insulation to keep the cold from settling into their bones. They scavenged, hunted, and learned to build small fires carefully, conserving every scrap they could find. Emma grew sick from the cold, her cough echoing too loudly in the small space. Caleb felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. A child forced into the role of protector with no guidance and no safety net. He prayed in whispers at night, asking for strength, for warmth, for a sign that they were not alone. As days turned into weeks, the cabin began to feel less like a temporary hiding place and more like a fragile home. Caleb repaired what he could, stuffing rags into cracks, reinforcing the door, digging a shallow pit for storing food. It was while clearing the floor near the old fireplace that he noticed something strange. The board sounded hollow in one corner, different from the rest. At first, he ignored it, afraid of what he might uncover. Sometimes the past was buried for a reason, but curiosity and necessity have a way of working together. One bitter night, when the fire burned low and the cold crept in faster than usual, Caleb pried up one of the loose boards. Beneath it was packed earth, disturbed long ago. As he dug deeper, the soil gave way to something solid, metal scraping against his tool. His heart raced, not with excitement, but with fear. Discoveries rarely meant good news for kids like them. What emerged was not danger, but mystery. A steel hatch, rusted but intact, sealed tight and hidden with care. It took hours of effort to open it, hands numb and muscles aching. When it finally gave way, the sight beneath left Caleb stunned. Stacks of sealed crates, marked with faded symbols, lined the hidden chamber. Documents wrapped in oilcloth, gold bars dulled by time, and artifacts that looked old enough to belong in a museum filled the space. Even without understanding the full value, Caleb knew this was something far beyond anything they had ever known. Emma watched quietly, her eyes wide, sensing the shift in their reality. This was not treasure in the fairy tale sense. It was history, weighty and dangerous, the kind of secret people kill to protect. Fear returned stronger than ever. They resealed the hatch, unsure what to do. Wealth had never been part of their world, and now it lay beneath their feet, threatening to change everything. Days passed as Caleb wrestled with the decision. He knew they could not keep the secret forever. He also knew that revealing it could put them at risk. Eventually, guided by quiet faith their mother once planted, he made a choice rooted not in greed, but in trust. They contacted a local church, a place that had offered food once without asking questions. The pastor listened, skeptical but kind, and eventually authorities were brought in. What followed was a storm of attention that the siblings were not prepared for. Experts confirmed the find as a long-lost cache of assets hidden during a financial scandal decades earlier, worth over $100 million. The cabin had been built intentionally to hide it, and time had erased the trail until two forgotten children stumbled upon it. Legal battles followed, investigations, headlines, and debates about ownership. Through it all, Caleb and Emma remained under protection of the church, overwhelmed and frightened by the sudden shift from invisibility to scrutiny. They were questioned, photographed, and analyzed, their past laid bare for the world to see. It was painful, exposing wounds that had never healed. In the end, justice moved slowly but clearly. The treasure was claimed by the state and distributed according to law. But the children were recognized as finders and survivors. Trust funds were established, guardians appointed, and most importantly, they were given something they had never truly had before: stability, safety, a future. They were adopted by a Christian family who understood trauma and patience, who did not see them as symbols or miracles, but as children who needed time to learn how to belong. Therapy replaced survival mode. School replaced the streets. Faith returned not as a desperate whisper, but as a steady presence. Near the end of this story, if it moved you, inspired you, or reminded you of the power of kindness and faith, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps stories like this reach hearts that need hope. And just before the ending, please comment below if you believe that sometimes the greatest treasures are found not by those who seek wealth, but by those who are simply trying to survive. Years later, the cabin still stands, preserved as a quiet monument to resilience. Beneath it, the chamber is empty, its contents gone, but its true value remains. It was never about the money. It was about two children who refused to give up, who trusted that even in abandonment, something good could still be buried beneath the surface, waiting to be found.